All right, welcome back. We continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW, which is the home of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. You'll see them in action this Saturday after they won last night against Dayton 3-0 over at Highmark Stadium in the U.S. Open Cup 2019. Also, Gene, I want to talk about hockey, and last night we saw the Bruins dominate once again. They beat Carolina. They're up 3-0, and on the other side of it, boy, a lot of former Penguins are making themselves known for the St. Louis Blues. We saw Bortuzzo and Oscar Sundqvist the other night get 2 goals that end up winning that game. And tonight, David Perron had 2 in a span of less than a minute, although now I think the Sharks have tied it. That's a pretty good series. Who do you like in that?
I've said for most of the, at least second half of the season, I thought the Sharks were the best team in the league. I still like them to win the Cup. The real good symmetry now would be if the Bruins swept that series and then were swept, it'd be the perfect domino from Pittsburgh to the Islanders to the Hurricanes to the Brewers to the Sharks. 4 sweeps.
Wow. Once again, stuff you can only get from Gene Collier. Let's go to line 1. Will in McKees Rocks. You're first up tonight. Hello, Will.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you?
All right. What's going on, Big Will?
Nothing much. Hey, I really want to talk to you about Josh Bell and a couple of things that are really bothering me. First of all, as you all know, and we know here locally, he's tearing the cover off the ball, but there's no national media coverage, and I can't help but if he was on any other team but ours, if he would get that. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, if he's in a big market, it's almost like playing in Seattle. You know, sometimes you get not noticed. If you play in a market that people don't see all the time, you don't get as much attention. And I think the Pirates, if they were more significant, maybe they will. And if this continues, he will ultimately. Because if you look at the National League, Will and Gene, it's Cody Bellinger, it's Kristen Yelich, and it's also Josh Bell right now, right? I mean, those are the top run producers in the game.
He might not get the national.
Thanks, Will.
He might not get the national publicity that you want him to get, but it'll come. It's not certainly not a problem. Josh Bell handles the media really well. Is very cooperative. Thinks about his answers. Gives good answers. People will discover that, and he'll get the credit you think he deserves. But he's got to continue to play well. I mean, don't forget he's coming off a year in which he had 12 homers. That doesn't draw a lot of positive attention.
No, I think he's been much more selective with his pitch count. He's not swinging at things. Last year he was swinging quite a bit of, and if you do that and make a pitcher come to you, even though last night I thought he took advantage of a huge mistake. It was an 0-2 count, and Luke Weaver grooved one, Gene, and I don't understand that. I mean, you got a guy down 0-2 in the count. The last thing you want to do with someone like that is put it right over the middle of the plate. Clearly missed his target.
That's a good sign that Josh Bell is hitting those kind of mistakes, too.
Update for you, Kyle Lowry has hit 7 of 8 threes, and right now Toronto has tied Milwaukee. 98-98 late in that game. Line 3 we go. It's Susan in Murraysville. Susan, welcome to the Sports Call. What's up?
Thanks, Bob. It's nice to talk to you. I just wanted to ask both you and Gene, realistically, in your opinions, what do the Pirates really need to do to be consistent in their play these days? Besides, not going out and getting all new players and everything. But what can they do to help themselves right now? Thanks a lot. I'm going to go ahead and listen for your answer. Thank you.
Well, sure. It's a good question, but basically it comes down to pitching. The real source of their inconsistency, has been pitching. Right now it's starting pitching because they're depleted with Archer only coming back today and now Tyon gone until July. So that's going to be difficult. Their bullpen has been difficult for them. Their offense hasn't been what it should be. As to what they can do, I think Neil Huntington's actually done a pretty good job. I think he's assembled, within the constraints that exist, a pretty good team, and he's juggled his roster really well too. But a lot of teams are right around where the Pirates are now. I think they're lucky to be there. I think if they win one more game on this road trip, that would be acceptable. 2 would be good. I think they're hanging in there as best they can.
Rob in Gateway has this question. Do you think Chris Archer would be best suited to pitch out of the bullpen until he straightens up? No. I think he is where he is. He's got to be a starter, and this was his first one, so I think Robbie got to be patient, right, Gene?
Yeah, I mean, he's coming back off, as Bob said, he missed most of the month.
Yeah, so, the bottom line is they have to just remain competitive and win their share of series. If they look at it that way, like, for example, the Cubs lost tonight in the bottom of the ninth in Cincinnati. Puig almost did a grand slam walk-off. Instead, hit off the top of the wall. He gets the game-winning hit, but not a grand slam. Cubs beat them. The Brewers won tonight, but the Cardinals lost tonight. So, you know, they're hanging around. What can you do at this point? They're heading late May into June if you're within 3 or 4 games, and the wild card is right there. You got to get healthy, though, more than anything else for them. Bob in Clearfield. What's up, Bob? How are you?
Hi, gentlemen, and thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is this. Is there anybody around the Pittsburgh media down there who still believes that the Archer trade is a good one? I have no disrespect for the guy. He's an excellent media and public relations specialist, but he's still an oft-injured, back-of-the-rotation guy who is with a career-losing record. And even if he pitches well, and it's the best he can hope for, is to come to the trade deadline, they might be able to get a Class A minor leaguer and some bonus pool money for him. Because at this stage of his career, I can't see him being worth much more than that in terms of return value. So that's my question, and thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Bob, I'll answer it this way first. I think, you know, part of the reason they got him because he had years of control. And when you have years of control, the Pirates are interested in you because it's a number they know they can deal with. That was big, but also I think they felt, Gene, that he went from the American League East, which is filled with a lot of big bats, to the National League Central, which is still good, but maybe not as good. I think they believed he can come here, and we've seen flashes where he's gone 7 strong innings against good teams, but then he's not followed it up with anything.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with the caller mostly. I haven't seen enough from Chris Archer, you know, to certainly justify the trade to this point. And as to what they can get for him, I mean, I'm not ready to go there just yet. But I don't see what they see in him. He too many of his pitches are up in the zone. He seems to like to work up that way. He does, as Bob you just said, you see stretches of really good pitching from him, but not nearly enough.
Let's go to line 5. That's Bob in Indiana. Hey, Bob.
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call,
Sure,
gentlemen.
no problem.
I need to talk about the pitching also. You know, they need to get some trade somehow. I don't know who, what, where, but to get somebody. Their answer is in Kingham or Brault. And Tyler, when he does come back, he's going to be, you know, slow to get back in the groove too. So you're looking at probably at least 3 or 4 starts for him. And the other thing is Rodriguez. I have no idea what he's out there doing, but every time he comes out, it's another home run over the fence. And every good thing is last night that they were up enough that it didn't matter.
Yeah, but that's a good point because last year he 5 home runs he surrendered all of the season. And Gene already has given up 7 this year. Yeah. And you wonder what's wrong other than he's elevating his pitches. And if you look at it, that's clear. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's had a terrible problem with the home run ball. You know, the Pirates do have to do something. I don't know if it's Mitch Keller or if it's a trade, but, you know, pitching, as we've said many times on the show, but only because it's true, you just never have enough of it.
When we come back, we're going to talk about something that went on today, which is kind of surprising, but yet not surprising, although it involves someone that everyone here knows, some of you like, most don't like. We'll tell you what that is when we come back. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, 7 nights a week on Pittsburgh CW.